Here I am in my mid-40s now, thinking about life. And I can't help but reflect on my entrepreneurial journey for the last 30 years. And in light of this question, I begin to contemplate, is success or wealth even attainable? To watch my book, Your Baby's Ugly, reach #1 on the Wall Street Journal bestsellers list, #1 was amazing to me. Receiving the Exit Planner of the Year award from the Exit Planning Institute was a business and career high. I can remember seeing my name in Forbes magazine for the first time. A lot of business highs. You know, with business highs, there are business lows. Man, the countless disappointments I've seen, experienced, heartbreak, troubling times that have left marks on my face, wrinkles and gray hair, multiple lawsuits, misunderstood by people. Business brings lows. Well, maybe it's not about business, maybe it's about life. I look at my life and I'm like, I am blessed beyond measure. I'm telling you, friends, you're looking at an individual who is grateful for everything he has. But is that success? Is that wealth? Friends, I can literally remember I sold my business, my very first business. We moved to Knoxville, Tennessee, and I was embarking on a new entrepreneurial journey. And I had to take a job picking up cigarette butts. And here I am doing everything I can just to feed the family, to pay the bills. And some low lows. Is that success? Is that wealth? Is success and wealth even attainable? Is success or wealth even attainable? Now, right before Christmas 2023, I was sitting in the house and I was thinking through life's journey. I'm sure you've done that. You look back on your life and you wonder, man, is it worth it? Or, wow, what a journey. And probably a little bit of both. Here I am in my mid-40s now, thinking about life. And I can't help but reflect on my entrepreneurial journey for the last 30 years. And in light of this question, I begin to contemplate, is success or wealth even attainable? You may say, well, Justin, yes, absolutely it's attainable. Perhaps. We have to define our terms. You see, some 30 years ago, I began my journey, and I've watched some high highs in business. To watch my book, Your Baby's Ugly, reach #1 on the Wall Street Journal bestsellers list, #1 was amazing to me. To see my name above some of the great authors that I love to read behind, to see my name above theirs on the list was just like, wow. I can remember reading the news, seeing the list, and I was driving through the middle of Knoxville on a 4-lane interstate, and I literally had to pull off the road and take a moment. Really emotional for me. Man, what a high. Watching my name appear 5 times in the top 100 most influential advisor list. Wow. Just a business high for me. Receiving the Exit Planner of the Year award from the Exit Planning Institute was a business and career high. I can remember seeing my name in Forbes magazine for the first time. A lot of business highs. Well, Justin, that's success. Is it? You know, with business highs, there are business lows. Man, the countless disappointments I've seen, experienced, heartbreak, troubling times that have left marks on my face, wrinkles and gray hair, multiple lawsuits, misunderstood by people. Business brings lows. You know, but life's not all about business. Is success and wealth even attainable? Well, maybe it's not about business, maybe it's about life. I look at my life and I'm like, I am blessed beyond measure. I'm telling you, friends, you're looking at an individual who is grateful for everything he has. I look at my family and I'm humbled. I'm humbled. Unbelievable memories. I can still see each of my children, holding them as infants and then watching them grow up. I can see my wife when she walked down the aisle. The very first time I met her, I remember seeing her. Very first conversation. My family, my brother, my sister, my mother, my father, all these things, unbelievable memories. Highs, high highs. I've been debt-free twice in my life. Twice. It's pretty amazing. To be financially independent and free by the age of 45 is mesmerizing to me. I can remember this journey that I began on in my own personal finance when I read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, for the first time at age 15, and then listening to Dave Ramsey preach into the microphone on a weekly basis, talking about debt, stay out of debt, save first, and walk through the baby steps. And then just had this dream that, hey, I wonder if it's possible to be financially free in my early 40s. It is. But is that success? Is that wealth? You know, with highs in life, we also have lows. I can remember multiple miscarriages because of life's events that my wife and I walked through. Hard times. Friends, I can literally remember I sold my business, my very first business. We moved to Knoxville, Tennessee, and I was embarking on a new entrepreneur journey. And I had to take a job picking up cigarette butts. Here I am, a college-educated individual, a person who sold a business that, by all aspirations, people would say, hey, you did a good job. And here I am in a town that I've never been in before, working as a part-time employee, as a 1099 subcontractor, literally picking cigarette butts up at a bank. Now, you may say, well, Justin, okay. For me, that seemed like it was a shock to my ego. Hey, I'd gone to college. I shouldn't have to do this. But at a low of my life, I realized that there's a greater plan. So here I am picking up cigarette butts. I can remember this individual driving through in a Mercedes, had visited the bank teller, and he flipped the cigarette at me while I'm picking it up. I can remember having to use duct tape to hold together the prayer mobile. We had a prayer mobile. My wife and I, man, we did whatever we could to keep the family together and literally had duct tape holding the car together. Probably one of the lowest points for me as a father, as a husband, is we had just sold a house that we could not afford. We shouldn't have bought it. We went through a hard time and it devastated our finances, and we got out of this house that was much larger than what we ever needed, but it was an ego and it was very, very poor decisions that I made, and my family paid the price for it. And we moved into a very grateful, but we moved into a double-wide mobile home in the country, and the double-wide mobile home did not have a gravel driveway, didn't even have a driveway. And I can remember it was just after Christmas time. We had just moved out of this big fancy house. And my wife calls me just weeping. And she says, Justin, I'm stuck. I can't get our kids to the doctor. I'm stuck in the mud at our house. And here I am doing everything I can just to feed the family, to pay the bills. Been some low lows. Is that success? Is that wealth? You see, as I now sit here today, some 30 years in business, some 7 business exits, I can't help but wonder, is it all for naught? Is success and wealth even attainable? I think most of us who've been in business for any length of time would realize that life can throw some amazing opportunities and challenges at us. And as I'm reflecting now within this season of life I'm in, I can't help but consistently ask my question, is success and wealth even attainable? You say, Justin, are you going through a midlife crisis? I don't think so. Have you failed at something? Oh man, I failed at so much, it's not even funny. Have you succeeded at something? Yeah, I have. By many stretch of the imagination, achieving some of the things that God's allowed me to achieve, some people would say it's success. But I believe today, for the first time in my life, I have the freedom to follow my true calling. You say, well, Justin, that's a weird statement. Where would you come from with that? You know, I'm a little slow sometimes. And many times I'm overly calculated. Many times I let anxiety or fear run my life. Most of us could say that. You know, when I started this podcast some 8 years ago, it had one reason and one reason only, and that was to gain clients for a small business. This little business that I was working in day out, blood, sweat, tear, 80 hours a week, trying to drive a company to a point where I believed it could be. I knew what it could do. I could see it. I could envision myself in that destination. And I knew the only way that we were going to get there was through marketing. The only way we were going to get there is by running against the grain, doing something different that no one else was doing. And so now for some 501 episodes, I've been speaking into this microphone. I've been teaching. I've been pouring with one intention and one intention only. And that is to penetrate or saturate a market to where people would recognize that, hey, this little office in Knoxville, Tennessee can serve clients. And friends, over the last years, this podcast has led me to a position to where I experienced my own 8-figure exit. It led me to a position where I now can say debt freedom is amazing yet again. I can sit back and literally think the question, is success or wealth attainable? The podcast studio is a little different today. I wanted to black out all the noise. I wanted to just have a conversation to a microphone and a camera and talk a little bit about what's on my heart. In the days and weeks ahead, there are going to be some major changes. I hope you come along the journey with me, but I want to talk about my heart. As I mentioned, I feel like for the first time ever, I have clarity of purpose, clarity of vision. The people who know me the best have recently said to me, Justin, you're beaming. Your eyes are bright. Your voice has that vim and vigor that we used to hear from you. You know, I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for all the seasons that we go through. Ecclesiastes says, everything there is a season. The Byrds wrote a song about that, right? To everything turn. There's a season. We all go through seasons. And, you know, some years ago, I started into the entrepreneurial space when I was 15 years of age. And now 30 years later, I'm sitting here still in the entrepreneurial space. I've gone through now 7 business transactions, 7 businesses that I have been a part of or have directly sold interest or my ownership in. And I'm grateful for every lesson I've learned along the way. And now as I'm reaching an age of maturity, maybe, I'm sitting and reflecting. This Christmas just passed, Christmas 2023. We had just completed a sale of the business who acquired mine. And I'm thinking through what's next in life. And I'm thinking, is this it? You know, so many of us live in our past. And I don't want that to be me. I don't want to be the guy that used to do something. I believe that there's so much more to do for each of us in life. And I've been sincerely contemplating what's next. Is it possible without the weight or the gravity of life? Is it possible to have an urgency within oneself to push forward to the mark that I believe that God has for each of our lives, that I believe God has for my life? Is it possible? Is success and wealth truly attainable? So over Christmas this last year, I spent a lot of time meditating, praying, reading, thinking about what was Justin truly designed for. Friends, I got to tell you, I love teaching. You may know that by now. I love teaching. I love communicating. I love impacting people's lives. And so as I look back on my journey, at the things, the highs in business, the lows in business, the high in life, the lows in life, the training, everything that's been poured into my life with crystal clarity, I believe without a shadow of a doubt that I know the direction I need to head. You say, well, how is that even possible? Scripture says that if we trust in the Lord, He'll give us direction. He'll give us the desires of our heart. He places desires in our lives so that we can live to the life that He has designed for us. I often say, and you've heard me say this on the podcast if you've listened to it for any length of time, that God has prepared us for what He's prepared us for. I firmly believe that with all my person. So as I look back at my life now, I look through 7 transactions, highs and lows, with this question: is success and wealth even attainable? I believe it is. I believe it is. And so as we go forward from this day forward, I want to announce I'm officially relaunching this podcast. For the last 500 episodes, I spent a lot of time teaching. We've gone into the technical. We've had guests in to talk about the technical of the how. But what I've been internalizing within myself is why, when, where, what. Sure, the how matters, but the why may be just as important, if not more. So I want to relaunch the podcast. And in the upcoming weeks, in the upcoming months, you're going to see a complete rebranding. It's still going to be financially simple, but you're going to see a complete rebranding, a direction that I hope will inspire you. I hope will impact your life. Whenever you relaunch something, what you're doing is taking a slightly different direction with hopefully a different trajectory, a different outcome. And relaunching is not an easy feat. Think about it from a business standpoint. If you have to relaunch something within your business, you must have an entirely different business plan, an entire different branding process, an entire different technology suite, workflows. Everything must shift. And for this relaunch, I want to bring you along on my journey. I want to open up my world, not to be braggadocious and not for pride, but to give you hope, to impact your life. Friends, I got to tell you, if this country boy, born and raised in the swamps on a dirt road in South Georgia and currently lives in the hills of Tennessee on a dirt road in Tennessee can be used of God in the way that he's used of me, you can do this. We've all gone through challenges. We've all gone through battles, but you can reach your calling. So where are we going? Longtime listeners may recognize that my life word is impact. I love that word. I want to impact as many people as possible. But what does that mean? Whenever I say I want to impact, I say things like I want to leave it on the field. Like a coach would say, hey, son, leave it on the field. You can rest later. Whenever you play the game, put everything you have into it. Sure. Maybe it's a legacy. Maybe I want to leave a legacy. I want to, whenever I go to my grave, as you've heard me say, I want people to say, hey, this man was truly a follower of Christ. This man, though he faced obstacles, put his head down and did what he believed was right. But impact is so much more than that. Impact is far more than that. You may recognize that I believe that God has something specific for each of our lives. And I believe that he has created us for something that only we can do. And I believe as we journey through this life, no matter what it is, no matter the road that you're on, that he is preparing you for what he's prepared only you for. I believe that with every purpose. For me, it is, I believe that God has laid in my heart a desire to impact millions of people to become all that God has designed them to be in their lives. So today we're going to relaunch the podcast. It's going to be a slightly new direction. Like, Justin, how's it going to look? Here's the mission. My mission from this point forward is to encourage, inspire, and educate today's business owner for your aspirational dream. If you're a business owner, I want to encourage you, I want to inspire you, and I want to educate you for your aspirational dreams. See, we all have these dreams. Now, our dreams are our dreams, and it's no one else's responsibility or power for them to challenge our dreams. They're our dreams. They're God-given for many of us. I want to come alongside you, and I want to encourage you. Like, Justin, really? Man, business owners, we know it. We get beat up. We deal with regulations. We deal with economic uncertainty. We deal with competition. We deal with employee frustration. We deal with access to capital, work-life balance. There's so many things that we're dealing with day in, day out. This journey of being a business owner, this journey of living life, this journey of being an entrepreneur, this journey of saying, hey, I'm going to go against the grain of our society. It is exhausting. Our society is not equipped for business owners. It was set up as a manufacturing society. Think about it. Go back in the early 1900s. It was set up as a manufacturing society, and the education system was set up to design employees for a manufacturing society. And so by the very nature of being a business owner, an entrepreneur, we're automatically going against the grain. And so I want to encourage you. Now, my encouragement may not be what you expect. It's not going to be rainbows and unicorns. I promise you that. In fact, on one of the upcoming podcasts, we're going to talk about the very fact of, should we be an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur? So many people are business owners and they shouldn't. They shouldn't be. We're going to do a deep dive into, should you really be an intrapreneur versus an entrepreneur? That's one of the episodes I can't wait to talk about here very soon. So as we relaunch this podcast, I want to encourage you. I want to allow you to focus on what God has designed you for. And I want to inspire you. You know, oftentimes, say it this way, most of the time, God has bigger plans for our lives than we have for ourselves. What a shame. I don't know about you, but I, Justin Goodbread, wants everything that God has for me. Everything. I was having lunch with a dear friend, an individual that I deeply care for. And he said, Justin, why are you doing this? Isn't enough enough? He said, when is enough money enough money? When's enough prestige? When's enough? And he gave me a list of things, and you could put your own word in there. Maybe you've asked yourself this question. I said, I want to get all that I can get. I want to get everything that God has for me. I don't want to quit in the 7th inning. Don't want to do it. I want to drive forward. So when we think about the question, is wealth attainable? We got to define our term wealth. And we're going to talk about the 5 points of wealth here in the very near future. You may say, is success attainable? I heard recently the success defined as achieving all that God has designed for us. Notice that it doesn't talk about wealth, prestige, notorieties, money. It doesn't talk about those things. Talks about success is achieving everything God has designed for us. Is wealth and success attainable? You know, modern history has given us examples like Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, Elon Musk. People that when we look from the outside in, it looks like they're living this limitless life. Like, how in the world can they do that? And I sit back and I say, that's amazing. I am so happy for them. Good for them. I have a dear friend who says, good for you. Good for them. But I truly believe that God has an unimaginable destiny for each of us. I believe that. We have to overcome fear. We have to overcome anxiety. We have to release the death grip that these two things hold on our lives. And friends, I want to inspire us as we go forward from this day forward that, hey, there is an amazing future that if we release our fear and we see the opportunities and we see the glass half full, we see the pattern that God has for our lives, that wealth and success is attainable, but not perhaps how we define it. And then I want to educate. In the scriptures, it talks about a man by the name of Solomon who was considered or is considered the wisest man ever. Interestingly enough, he asked God to give him wisdom, and because of this request, God gave him so much more, including riches. In fact, if you look at his wealth in today's dollars, he'll be worth in excess of over $2 trillion. Think about that, $2 trillion. And no one's ever even come close to that in today's dollars. And so when we look at education, we can see that there is a pattern. Yes, we have to have knowledge. Knowledge is easy to obtain, especially in today's world. It's all around us through internet, through chat GPT, through AI, through so much. Knowledge is everywhere. Proverbs 2:6 says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Solomon wrote that, the wisest man ever. Interestingly enough, he also talks about wisdom. He also said, it's the Lord that gives wisdom. The scripture says that if we ask for wisdom, God will give it to us liberally. In other words, he'll give us wisdom when we need it. We just kind of asking for it. So when we talk about education, it's not necessarily a how-to, even though that's important. How do we take the knowledge and wisdom and apply it so we can drive forward to the destiny, to the plan, to the position that God has designed us for? So friends, as we drive forward in this relaunch, I'm going to open up my world in a way you've never seen me. I hope, and my prayer is, that I'm able to encourage you, that I'm able to inspire you, and that through my little abilities that I'm able to educate you, because God has something amazing for our lives. Each of us have the same 24 hours. Each of us have various opportunities, various abilities. Friends, I don't know about you, but I want everything out of this life that God has for me. And so as we go forward on the podcast, some things are going to change. I'm hoping that you'll stay along and you'll go on this journey with me. Until next time, friends, y'all go out and make it a great day.